This is where a lot of the controversy started here. One of the Williams boys that were involved in the Goodfellas, his brother was killed here in this alley, right back behind here. He was given a free walk by the cops. Said, "Get out of here, go walk," and they shot him in the back. Just literally murdered him because he was involved in the community. And so that's what got a lot of the young people, again, upset. So that's where they started getting together with Join and some of the other groups and organizing the march on the Summerdale police station. Okay, and they had around 600 to 700 people there. I'd explained before, but it was a turning point in the community in terms of the cops murdering people. They began to figure out that people were watching them. It's too bad we didn't have cell phones at the time. That's when more and more people started joining in the Goodfellas and started organizing in the community, doing different things, getting together, playing music. But this was the point to where it all started, because they had finally had enough. You know, it just kept going, and they had enough. And so a lot of times when the cops would try to beat up some guys or whatever, a bunch of other guys would come out and stand around, you know, to prevent them from doing it. Sometimes they called in reinforcements, but most of the time they just left them alone because they didn't want to get hurt, you know, because they were very serious, the guys. All right, let's go down. Used to be the Goodfella Hall, and we'd open it up, sit around, play guitar. We had a band, and we would get people into the facility and find out what their problems were, you know, and then try to refer them and work on it from there. But we did a lot of recruiting there, and I think there's a picture of it on our website. You'll see some people sitting around playing guitars. The Young Lords did essentially the same thing through dances and music, which is a way of getting people in, because at that time all you heard around here was country music. You know, you hardly ever heard any type of music in here. So this was pretty much our corner. This place over there on that corner used to be the lunch pail we hung around. Where that Sonic is over there now used to be a place, had several names. One of them was Shelley's, one of them was Bow Wow Hot Dogs, where we hung around all the time. Down there where the McDonald's is where they had the Voice of the People originally started. And they also had the Uptown Edgewater People's Mental Health Clinic, in which they organized. We helped organize, and so there's a lot of things going on here, a lot of police presence all over the place. There used to be an alley that went through there where they got me, took me into the alley and beat the hell out of me. I used to take guys down to the lake, handcuffed, beat them bloody, and then just leave them. So it was a brutal, sadistic police force at that time. They wanted us out of the neighborhood, and they knew they could do whatever they wanted. They've been reported as women reporting being raped by the police. I know personally that there were some cops that used some of the apartments around here to take prostitutes. They'd also try to force women in the neighborhood, you know, to have sex with them. So, you know, you can really see why we we were upset with the police at that time. Now, I'm not saying that they were all bad. There were a few good ones, but they were probably out there in the Somberdale office, but they weren't very few of them. There were very few that were. So there were very few nice ones around here. When I first got here, actually a police officer got me a job. I worked there for about 2 or 3 weeks. He came by with an FBI agent, tried to recruit me to be a informant. That's when I quit the job. So they were constantly trying to get us to be informants. Also, if you had more than 3 people, this would definitely be a gang. If you had 3 people or more standing around for any more than 15 minutes, you were a gang. They could come up and treat you as a gang. They could do whatever they wanted to. Many times they put us against the wall, they put us down on the ground. They'd take people into the police department, get them to confess to crimes they didn't commit. They'd open a phone book, put it over their head, and beat the phone book. And that can give you a concussion, and that can ruin your day. And so they would be getting people to confess, to crimes they didn't commit. And a lot of times what they would do, instead of arresting them, they would get them to go and do crimes for them. Now, the Somberdale scandal, which happened in 1959, there were police officers who had burglars, and they would actually give orders to these burglars, and they would go out and fill their orders. And if they didn't, they would serve their warrants on them, take them to jail. And that's how a lot of them stayed out of jail. They could confiscate your car, they could take it in and do whatever they wanted to, and a lot of people's cars were confiscated. So they were just brutal. They would pick people up from this community and take them over into a black community that was known as a gang presence, strip them of all IDs, no money. They'd take people from the black communities and put them over here. We finally got smart. We would escort them to the train station, give them money, and they'd go back home. They'd do the same thing for our people. So we finally got smart in that, but they still continued it. So I know it's hard for people to believe, but it's true. Yes. I mean, it's true. I mean, this was Daley's gang, and that's the way he ran it. He was an evil person. But Annie.
Say one thing about Daley's gang. It was called the Hamburg Athletic Club.
Yeah.
And historians have looked into the 1919 race riot, which was a terrible, terrible race riot where whites attacked the black neighborhoods. People fought back. 40-some people were killed. There was a lot of property loss. The Hamburgs are believed to have been one of the main white gangs who was active in the riot. He never talked about it. He never wanted to talk about that. Nice fella.
Yeah.